Hello, everybody. We are live on YouTube. Welcome to the feed. We're going to be reviewing the championship action from this past weekend. 11 games to play now for all bar 6 teams, and Derby and Wigan are about to go out anytime, 45 minutes time. So they're going to catch up one game, and then it will just be 4 teams left with 12 points to go. Make yourself known if you're in the chat, and we will get started as per normal at the top of the league, and that means Norwich once again. Millwall 1, Norwich 3. Daniel Farker keeps using the term complicated in his post-match interviews. I don't believe him for 1 second. They're not making this look complicated at all. Norwich, another win, another 3 goals. They're just smashing them in at the moment. 8 shots on target for Millwall to Norwich's 7. But we know Norwich is finishing just all season. Well, take the first 6 weeks of the season out, but 90% of the season their finishing has just been absolutely superlative, to say the least. There's Steeperman with the opener, Williams with the equaliser on half-time, and a very Millwall-looking goal in the second half from Zimmerman. Got up like Jake Cooper there to smash that header in, and Pookie is just a man possessed at the moment. The biggest compliment I can pay that Pookie goal for 3-1 is he looked like Ian Wright when he went through there. Superb first touch, smashed it in. 24 league goals this season for Pookie in 32 starts. Just the season of his life. Be really interesting to see whether he continues that on, or whether he's one of these players that has that magical season and then never gets back to it. Interesting to see 2 more assists for Buendia as well, contributing big style now as the season goes on. Only 22, Emi Buendia. Norwich 2 points clear of second spot, 4 points clear of third. I reckon 6 more wins out of the last 11 games. That puts them on 87 points. I reckon that will be enough. 7 wins, and they've got 90 points. That will definitely be enough, given how tricky the chase is going to be. It is Norwich's to lose now. They've just got to keep doing what they've been doing, and they will either win the league or get automatic promotion. Just consistently now, every game, they create a lot of chances and don't concede many chances. They look far more relaxed than any other team up there as well. So another great win for Norwich, 5 wins out of the last 6, and it really would need a minor collapse or the other 2 chasers to just go really, mega for the rest of the season like Cardiff did last season. Millwall, very, very bad day for Millwall. They lose their 3rd straight game, and both the teams below win to kind of suck Millwall down into what looks like 4 teams for 22nd position now. 1 win in 9, and still they've got Brighton in the FA Cup. So although I did look, Rotherham and Reading's games looked tricky that particular weekend. But yeah, Millwall could get dragged down into it there. Game number 2, and is this the real Leeds, or is this the imposters? Are the real Leeds back? Leeds 4, West Brom 0, and a bit of a wow performance from Leeds here. We thought, are they choking it after the game at QPR? Check out my review. I was at that game. Didn't go well for them at all. They're losing 1-0, but this was far more typical of this season. Ridiculous goal by Hernandez after Ken says, yes, it is the real Leeds. 16 seconds, how he swerves his body back and completely does the keeper for that goal. Some superb, we already mentioned Pookie's superb finish from Hernandez. What a player. Bamford with 2. Bamford has 5 in 541 minutes. I wonder how it would have shaped out if him and Roof had been fit all season, although Roberts did a good job deputising for Roof. I complained about the lack of movements. He really stepped up this weekend. Alioski, a late one there for 4-0. Lovely Lovely goal there. So the Leeds narrative completely switches in the space of 3 days. On Tuesday last week, we're saying, oh, no, they're going to choke it. What are they doing now? They're going to Leeds it up. And then just another, I keep saying, Norwich and Sheffield United, a bit more consistent. West Brom maybe have got better players than anyone. But Leeds can just somehow reach that level where they just blow teams away. If they can do it for another 11 games, they're going up. Chris says, don't care if we finish second, just want to go up. I think Norwich fans and Sheffield United fans would probably echo that sentiment there. 2 away games coming up here. Bristol City, that's not an easy game, is it? And then Reading, and then that massive Sheffield United clash Saturday week. Again, any Leeds fans with connections can get me a ticket for that one, or Blades fans. Set me up for that. Kemar Roof tweeted that he's already out of his leg brace. I hope he's not rushing himself back, but they could really do with him back only if he's fully fit. It's not worth long-term risk, but it looks like the bench is filling up. John says, Leeds beat Sheffield United at home. It'll be Norwich and Leeds get promoted. That is such a big game. The Blades do have 2 home games between now and then, though, and Leeds have to go to Bristol City. West Brom, 7 points off second. This looked like a bit of a landmark defeat. It looked like everyone's saying, well, we'd all been saying for ages, top 4, not a lot of quality below. Now we might be saying top 3. Matt questioning Darren Moore there in the feed. He is less experienced than Bielsa, Wilder and Farker, so definitely a disadvantage there in the dugout, even though he does have Rodriguez, Gale, Gibbs, Livermore, some real seasoned, lots of Premier League appearances there. Next 3 of the 4 at home, but you'd look at the Baggies, they've lost the 2 vital games to Sheffield United and Leeds there. I couldn't see who said that comment, but they think West Brom will do well with the star power in the playoffs, a good playoff team, maybe. You need a good tactical coach in the playoffs, though. I think it was Williams, just come back up. Game number 3, I was there last night. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Sheffield United 0. The second time I've traipsed up to Sheffield this season to see a Sheffield derby and for there to be no goals. Pretty drab affair up in Hillsborough. Check out the review. The conditions didn't help. I think, though, Bruce, he's very good at reminds me a lot of Mick McCarthy when you watch him on the touchline. Spots something, tweaks it to shut it down so many times during a game. And I think Wilder maybe just second-guessed himself and said, look, I've got 2 home games coming up. I'll focus on them. I'll get out of here alive and I'll take the point. What Daniel Farker would say, a complicated game there. Matt says, worry about us in the playoffs because we bottled 2 massive games, talking about West Brom there. John the Villa fan says, watched the derby last night, almost fell asleep. Interesting. Alan says, up the Villa, I will be at the derby on Sunday. Looking forward to that. That's the best derby I've seen this season. At the Alan Hutton derby earlier in the season. Anyway, back to the Blades. The first of 3 gnarly away games for Sheffield United. If you saw, I had the brilliant Ben from the Blades pod. It's a really good piece, actually. We talked about 55 minutes, Sheffield United special there. He agreed with me. It's all in the away form now. Hillsborough's done, Leeds away and Preston away coming up. If they can get through that in the top 2, then they're looking all right. But lots and lots of twists and turns yet. They really need, though, to ace the home games to catch Norwich and Leeds. Matt says, please do a Norwich special. God, I'll get so much stick from Ipswich fans if I do that. I'll do the Leeds one first, and we'll see if we can get Jack on from Talk Norwich City to do a Norwich special. Wednesday, still unbeaten under Bruce, starting to look quite pragmatic now. 4 draws in the last 6, but only 3 goals conceded in 8 games. And like I say, I've spent 5 years watching Mick McCarthy. Real tweaker, shutting stuff down from on the touchline there. Kind of thinks for his players. Leeds special Jake would probably be with Andy, who is at LUFC Stats on Twitter. There you go. First blowback there. Never doing Norwich special, says Nick there. Wednesday and 13th, 6 points off the playoffs. But 6 teams in between. You can't just look at the points. You've got to look at the carnage in between there. And like I've said, not a lot of quality below the top 4. Yeah, West Brom special. I'll do an anyone special if we can find someone good to speak to. Yes, and he does know everything, doesn't he? Game 4, Wigan 0, Borough 0. When I think Borough are going to go on a winning one, they Pulis it out 0-0 at 19th place. Wigan, everyone asking for the specials. I'll do an anybody special. Borough still in good nick though, 1 defeat in 10. Pulis has got 2 forwards on the pitch, 4 clean sheets in a row too. Surely this is already obviously going to be West Brom Borough in the playoffs. Neither of those teams are getting above the top 3, and I don't see anyone from 6th below getting above. So it looks quite heavily on for West Brom and Borough in the playoffs, I think already. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm right with that one, but I can't see that not happening now unless something. Do a Rotherham special. Absolutely, do an anyone special. I love the Championship. We all know. Wigan, 4th draw in a row. Reading and Rotherham win below this abysmal standard there. Finally improving now. Wigan 3 points off it. Game in hand tonight against Derby. Difficult one away. Although we did see Millwall win there last week. On Saturday, Reading versus Wigan. It seems like Reading have had about 4 6-pointers in a row. Williams says could be advantage for Baggies to be away first in the playoffs. We're already planning out the playoff games. I love it. Game 5, Preston 1, Bristol City 1. Bristol City and Derby really trying their best to stuff this up, but staying in there. Bristol City still 6th. The Johnson losing streak halted after 3 defeats in all comps. Bristol City hold on to their playoff game. Even if Derby win tonight, Derby need to win by 7 to go above Bristol City in 6th. Williams says they've had Rotherham, then Ipswich, then Wigan. Talking about these 6-pointers there, Wigan. Sorry, and then Reading. I got that wrong. Rixu says Derby bottle it near the end. Looks like happening at the moment. So Bristol City hold on to their spot for the time being. Johnson, lovely set play goal there in the first half. Jeju, 11th of the season. If Jeju can put 40 games on the clock, I think he's a 20-goal striker there. The stats would seem to say. Bristol City hanging in there, like I say. 6th spot might actually be up for grabs. We said for a while here now that top 6 might not change, but Bristol City and Derby really need to get their act together if they're going to take it. There's a few teams down to 10th could put a winning run together and actually jam their way in there, although you wouldn't really fancy any of those teams against a 3rd place, either Norwich, Leeds or Sheffield United, whichever one of those drops out of the top 2. That's going to be a hard old game. You probably get something ridiculous like Preston or Forest come through and then beat 3rd place because their heads are down. Preston's still in a really nice run there. They can stay in the top half. 19 points in their last 9 games. If they replicate that, they'd have 67 with 2 to play. May or may not be enough. So Preston really need to be in good form. You can't just look at the points. You've got to look at the teams in between as well. Villa 4, Derby 0. It's come up every week he's been away. Grealish equals Villa. This hasn't done the doubters any good. Grealish comes back, literally has a hand in all of the goals from kind of a bit further back, and then scores an absolutely ridiculous volley for 4-0 on half-time. And Villa had sucked without him. 2 wins in 14. John says he's the one we've been waiting for. So Grealish back, and Villa look a completely different team there. Hurahan with 2, Abraham with his 21st of the season there. Where would Villa be if Grealish hadn't missed those 14 games? I wonder. Derby, what are they doing? Lampard struggling at the moment. 4 defeats in a row, no wins in 5. Lost the Derby game at Forest. No goals in the last 3 games. John says Villa would be top 6 with a fit Grealish all season, but Bristol City have been bad too, and they leave Derby in there. I didn't check the teams. If anyone in the feed, I suppose if you're a Derby fan, you'll be at the game, not in this feed at the moment. Wilson likely back tonight, but not Mount or Lawrence. I think they missed those twos. Those twos. Mobility. Jake says, don't get the Grealish hate. He's been phenomenal. I think it's he's flamboyant. He's got funny hair. He wears his short, and he's not a typical player. England fans don't like flamboyant players. Look at how Rooney and Sterling and the like get tweeted. I think England fans like hard-working, kind of less, I don't want to say self-involved players, but Wilson and Marriott are starting, says William. Do a Grealish special. One of my favourite. I don't think I'm going to be able to put him in my team of the year, Grealish, just because he hasn't played enough games. Simon says he dives a lot. I think the stats say he's way the most marked and most fouled player in the league. So there might be something in that he actually has to keep going down to protect himself from, in the Championship, getting marked by 3 players every game. All I would say to any Grealish doubter is just buy a ticket, go and watch him play, and then tell me what you think. And tell me if anyone's got a better first touch that you've seen live in the last year, because I think he's a great player. But there we go. Carson Bogle, Keo Tomori, Johnson, Huddleston, Wackon, Wilson, Josephson, Marriott. That is the Derby team for tonight. Should be enough to beat Wigan at home. Game number 7, Hull 2, Birmingham 0. Hull, I'm going to apologise again, they're not on the beach yet like I thought they would be. Back-to-back home wins, both goals for Bowen. Bowen has 18 this season from a wide right sort of position, cutting in. He got 14 last season. What a great player Bowen is. I think he might well be popping up in my team of the year. Hull, one of 3 teams sitting on 50 points, 4 off the playoffs, but 5th, 6th and 7th all have a game in hand. Another of these teams is Birmingham, who they beat, but every time they get near, they drop away. And Birmingham, big game against Villa. Bowen linked with Norwich. That would break Norwich's model. They won't spend. Bowen will be 20 million. James saying he got linked with Norwich there. How has Keo not been dropped? Derby fans in Keo make me laugh. 600th game, I think, tonight, Keo. Game number 8, Stoke 2, Forest 0. A Nathan Jones win. We haven't had many of them yet. Only his second. Beat Leeds, strangely. Teams seem to raise their game when Leeds come visiting. A Tabo and a Phobe with the goal. Back to Bowen, linked with Spurs in January. That would be more likely. You think Spurs would cough up the money there. Please don't talk about Forest. Well, I'm about to, Mr. Dorr. So Stoke unbeaten in 4. It's a bit slowly. Forest, I thought they built momentum with the Derby victory, and they had 8 points across 4 games there. So good enough form, certainly good enough given everybody above them was losing. But then they've slipped up here at Stoke, and if Mr. Dorr's still in the feed, what about this away form? God. No away wins since November the 24th. I granted there's a lot of this is Karanka and not O'Neill. 3 away wins all season. You ain't going to get in the playoffs without that. That said, Forest are coming to Ipswich soon, so there's your guaranteed away win there. 10 away draws. That's where the points could have been made up. Mr. Dorr says poor on Saturday. Playoffs slipping away now. Nobody wants it, do they? Bristol City got up there and just kind of managing to stay in there due to everybody else kind of falling a little bit there. Does look like an easy playoff semi for 3rd place if whoever misses out on automatic there. Looks like an easy-ish game. Yes, you will see me at Ipswich, Mr. Dorr. It'll be lovely to see you. Game number 9, Swansea 2, Bolton 0. Swansea making hard work of this one. McBurney misses a pen on 34. Noon sent off on 43. Still can't break through. Wheater sent off on 73. And McBurney gets the opener only on 80 minutes. Selina on 91 for the 3 points. One of my favourites, Selina, from last season. Swansea up to 14th after 2 straight defeats. Sorting out job needs doing there squad-wise in the summer. John says, I didn't mention Villa and the top 6. Well, if Grealish plays for the next 10 games, you're going to be a lot closer to the top 6. So, Could happen. Needs a hell of a turnaround, though, John. Bolton look like they've had it now. 7 points gap, 1 win in the last 11, and big chatter on Twitter about the training ground closing. Although I thought Ken Anderson had found a buyer, so that rumbles on. Ipswich's only hope of not finishing bottom at the moment is a Bolton administrative collapse. Game number 10, Brentford back on it after losing at Hillsborough 3. QPR back on defeats. Bolton may not play the Millwall game on Saturday. Someone's got to stop that happening. God, great club like Bolton, dearie me. So both sides switched back to their pre-midweek form, Brentford and QPR. Mopai, 23rd of the season. Ben Rama now is really playing well. 6 goals, 5 assists in the last 10 games. Some good stats for you there. Canos with a deflected, bit of a muggy one at the end, about 3-0. 6 wins in the last 8 for Brentford. I assume they're right up there with Norwich in the form table at the moment. Still accumulating points at a lovely rate. QPR had that win over Leeds in midweek, but then straight back on it. 9 defeats in 12 games. They're not going to finish below 18th because there's a 6-point cushion. And the bottom 6 are terrible in terms of accumulating points. As you'd imagine, that's why they're the bottom 6. So bottom of that third quarter. It's a shame. I thought McLaren and Mowbray as well have done really good jobs this season. And it's just petering out and they're dropping down a little bit. When is Robinson back for Preston? Says I think he's out all season. That was is that cruciate ligament? Someone will smarten us up in the feed there. Bolton owe money to the police. Oh dear. Yeah, that will get you closed down. If you owe anything to centrally or locally government funded, you're a bit stuck there. Only 2 teams have won their next game after playing Leeds all year. Hull and Norwich. Interesting stat. Rotherham 3, Blackburn 2 is game number 11. Big win for Rotherham. Excuse me, I was reading D-Jam's comment about momentum there. Sorry. Especially given what else transpired, they needed that win. 2 from Ajayi. Where's Ajayi turned into a goal machine from? 4 in the last 7, but some utterly horrible goals in this game. Some really bad defending. Yes, thank you, Stan. Motherham, yes. Direct from a throw in, the header and a scrambly one. So Ajayi's got 4 in the last 7. Ridiculous. And if you watch my video from back further in the season, I said Rotherham's best player I thought was Ajayi, playing in front of the back 4. They're very useful in the way they play. One for Williams there. Bell and a stoppage time penalty for Mulgrew. Mulgrew, 10 goals this season for Mulgrew from centre back. Great stuff there. Steve Bruce-esque that. Rotherham stay level on points with Reading. Still only the goal difference in it, but it's 5. So that's Rotherham don't score that many, and certainly they don't aggregate bigger gaps. Only ever win by 1. Team spirit strong. Certainly agree with that. John says Rotherham to stay up. The thing is with Rotherham is they're the only team down there who are not having a bad season, because given Rotherham's spend, they're actually doing well, whereas all the other teams down there not really doing very well. If you look at the size, compare them to, we'll talk about this in financial terms. I've got a good interview set up for that. Freddie Sears special. Nice. Where am I looking? Rotherham stay level on points with Reading. Reading have had all these 6-pointers in a row. Rotherham unbeaten in 6, 8 points in those last games. And for the bottom 4, that's actually really good form. Someone says in the feed, I used to go to school with Paul Warren. Pretty nice man. I met Paul Warren at Milton Keynes. Stan says, I hope they stay up. I can see Reading sending them down after Reading's January business. You can, can't you? Blackburn, 5 defeats and a draw in the last 6. Drops into 17th, which feels a bit harsh considering how well they were playing. Mowbray really dug his team out. I'm sick of it. We lose 3 goals every game almost. We have to defend. Use your body. Be a man. Yeah. Interesting stuff from Mowbray there. Really not happy at all. And finally, game number 12, a landmark game for Ipswich. We may as well put the R by their name there. Went into the game 9 points behind Reading, who started the day in 21st. Ipswich lose 2-1, and both of the teams around there get the win. So the gap goes to 12 points. Ipswich have a horrible goal difference as well. So that's pretty much 5 games back now. So Ipswich could be relegated as early as Easter. The official relegation won't happen yet, but that feels really symbolic now. And I think pre-season for League One starts now for Ipswich and for Paul Lambert. Really, Oliveira obviously opens the scoring. I told you all that was going to happen. You can check that out. Collins, that gamble hasn't worked, and the same as the John Walters gamble. I'll do a video on this, how Ipswich just have had the worst season you could ever have. Everything they've done has gone wrong. DJ says time for Ipswich to play the youth and stop playing the lone players. Why was I not at the Reading game? Asked Matt. I was being a good boyfriend, and we were out in London. Went to the Albert Hall. Had a weekend off football this week, which I would advise everyone to do if they want to keep their partners. Gwion Edwards does equalise, but a bit of a fumble from Nsiala lets in Barrow to get a late winner. How long is Collins out for? I don't know if he was even fit in the first place. Thank you, Stan. Reading 9 points in 6, which is sort of 7th place form, that 1.5 points per game. They've made a dash for it. I think they've taken Bolton and Ipswich out of it now, and I think they've sucked Millwall and Wigan in. 22nd place looks like 1 from 4. Yeah, Rixu says he doesn't think Collins will play again. I don't think it was. William says only the second away win of the season. So let's go through some Twitter questions first. Mikey says, Championship loanee, do you think is the biggest future based on what you've seen? He's named a few: Wilson, Barnes, James, Chalobah. I think he's nailed it in the first 2 there. Anyone let me know if they think differently. Harry Wilson, will he get in for Liverpool? Reece James has been absolutely superb for Wigan. I think he's the best loanee I have seen this season. Nick says, Ipswich fans seem to think Lambert will bring Ipswich straight back up if you go down. Based on his current record, how long till they see through him? So he doesn't think that's going to happen. TA, West Yorkshire Blade says, Tammy Abraham, good shout on the lone player there. Is the top 3 indicating that having a coherent, well-drilled system and motivated players seems more important than having a few outstanding match winners? Yes, just a big yes to that. And I genuinely think now it's only 2 years of good work now seems to get you into the top 6 of the Championship. If you look, I suppose, other than Brentford and Preston, who have done a few years of good work, just look at Norwich and Sheffield United. Norwich is only 2 years, and most of the recruitment was done in the past year. And Sheffield United, that's been, as we've discussed, since it's been 3 seasons now under Wilder. So I agree totally with at West Yorkshire. James says, how many of the remaining fixtures do you foresee Norwich having to win to ensure automatic? We did do this earlier in the pod. I think 7 would bring them 90 points, which would definitely do it. I think 87 points and then a couple of draws, 80. I think that will be enough, personally. Daniel asks, how long can Ipswich go with losing mentality? Yeah, they need to turn it round. Blackburn Rovers sees, will Lambert be around next season? Lots of Ipswich questions here. Regardless of Ipswich's fate, yes, he will. How long he is, we shall see. A few doubters on that. Which game do you think Ipswich will be relegated by, says Chris. It could well be Easter, couldn't it? That Easter weekend. He says, adding from a Norwich point of view, we got Villa away then. So he's hoping it's decided before the last day. It could well be if Norwich can keep it up. Could be an interesting last day, that. Leeds at Ipswich, Norwich at Villa. Potentially a very, very young, inexperienced Ipswich team. Wouldn't like to make any suggestions that they'd make life easy for Leeds if there was anything in it, but there you go. Rixu, best game I've seen this season in the feed. Villa Leeds, Villa 2, Leeds 3, absolute stonker. Another Villa one as well, Villa 2, Villa 4, Birmingham 2 was a great one. Sheffield United winning 3-2 at Brentford in the rain was good fun. Leeds absolutely destroying Derby 2-0 after Spygate. That was a hell of a performance as well. And Ipswich beating Swansea away, so I can wear my I was there when Paul Hurst won t-shirt indeed. Let's check the YouTube questions. This is Aussie. Do you feel it's a 3-horse race now? Yes, I do. Final top 3 panning out. That's so hard to say. It just looks like Sheffield United have got these difficult away games. Sheffield United, I tell you what, if Sheffield United go away to Preston and away to Leeds and get 4 points, they're probably gonna do it. But you can just see Leeds now. Every game will be sold out there, and you can just see that wave of momentum there. Liam asks, where was the match review from yesterday's game? Love your channel, from a Norwich fan. Yeah, I had the weekend off, but I was at Sheffield Wednesday on the Monday night, and I will be at Norwich on Friday night. I'll be at West Brom on Saturday, and I'll be at Birmingham on Sunday. Nick says, how many will Leeds bring down on the last day? It could be ridiculous. 5,000 plus, easily, knowing Leeds. If it's a win to go up, that stadium is going to be full of Leeds fans. Buy some extra tickets, Ipswich fans. You might make some money there outside the ground. Where do I see Ipswich in 5 years' time? Hopefully in the Championship and not any lower down, but Sheffield United fans might say it might be a little bit longer. Am I getting the beers in on Friday? What stand are you in, Kyle? Let me know. And yes, Matt says League 2. I bloody hope not. Nick says, what are my thoughts on some Ipswich fans' chants about Oliveira's facial injury? I try not to get into this. Yeah, Kyle, I'm down in the posh bit near Delia, so you might just have to throw your beer at me from there and hope it reaches. With the Oliveira thing, I don't get involved in this bantery, football-y stuff. I think it can get a bit cruel and go over the line. What I will say with the whataboutery and who said what, this will sound ridiculous. Oliveira actually, if you trace this back, had some things to say before a Norwich Ipswich game and kind of made himself public enemy number one. Obviously, I don't agree with anyone getting a nasty facial injury and being mocked for it, so that was the retaliation. And then obviously Oliveira does the celebration now, so it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Maybe, I don't get involved in that stuff. I'm sat on the halfway line taking notes, but he gave as good as he got, so he won, and he's probably going to stay up. Yes, I have spoken to Brummy Joe, actually. DJ asked about Chambers. I think he should probably stay around and help Lambert out as a coach. Really, do I celebrate when it's a neutral game? The difficult Viper Gamer asked. The difficult thing is you're so wary of making mistakes on your YouTube video. People really pick it up. So I am generally really just staring to make sure I've got everything right for the goal for my YouTube video and trying to just take in the moment. I hate to say it, I do love it when I'm sat in the home stand and I'm neutral and the away team scores, and just that moment and that, that noise, I do really love it. But I must admit, the Alan Hutton goal for Villa, I'm not a Villa fan, but that was just a ridiculous moment I think I did get up and just laugh for that one. But no, generally pretty neutral in terms of celebrations. Coxie says, where is Benjamin Bloom? Yeah, I had the weekend off. Man of the match player ratings in my view. Yeah, okay. Why is Oliveira at Reading? He's a top 6 striker because of his attitude, James, because he should be getting promoted with Norwich, but he couldn't get on with Mr. Farker. Probably wouldn't have fitted in, and it's all worked out well because Pookie is playing like Ian Wright this season. John says about the Hutton goal, setting the Holt, best moment of the season. It was a great moment there. Just, is this happening? Yes, this is happening. He's going to stick it in the corner. Brilliant stuff. Ipswich gone now. Would I have preferred Brand, MM and Championship football? I don't even know whether MM could have got Championship football without Webster, Waghorn, Garner, although MM wouldn't have let that happen, so I suppose it kind of comes with the territory. I think that ship sailed now and it was time for a change, but everything that Mr. MM went has gone wrong, including the departure of MM. Anyone's got any questions in the feed, I'll take it. I think my lasagna is going to be ready soon, so I mustn't stay on here too long. As always, follow on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. We've got so many good subscribers. I did the KC Stadium earlier in the season. Hayden asks, first time I've been there. Will we win some games in League One next year, though? I bloody well hope so. Dara's just finished his pancakes. No pancakes for me. We having pancakes, my darling? It's pancake day. No, I've just got the word that there's no pancakes, but the lady you can't see is an absolute angel and does. We do pancakes for breakfast. That's how I sit on the halfway line and do pancakes for breakfast. That's how middle class I am. I'm not at all, honestly. Working class Ipswich boy. So should have an interview coming up tomorrow. I don't want to jinx that, so I'll send a DM and tweet. Dark horse to make the playoffs, hold for a late runner, maybe Preston. Have we ever seen Mrs. Ben? You have to come to Blue Monday live event. Does my wife have longer hair than me? Not much in it. She's not showing her face. Don't do that, darling. Deary me, yeah. Could we spoil Leeds down the last game, Nick? No, absolutely not. Absolutely, totally not. If Leeds are in it on the last day, that's going to be a Leeds party at Portman Road. Hypothetical question says, Chris, if Leeds need 3 points to get promotion, then Ipswich could stop Norwich. Would you choose? But the thing is, then Norwich will probably just win the playoffs anyway and go up at Wembley, which is a lot of fun, even though they haven't been up. Dara asked about Thursday night preview. Yes, we'll be doing a Thursday night preview. But yeah, if I can get the guy I want to get tomorrow night, we'll be talking financials. So get questions in. I sounded like Alan Partridge when I said that a little bit, but there we go. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. What time? It won't be live tomorrow. It will be. I'm not wearing a Norwich kit, Carl. Sorry, that'll have to be for charity. We'll do 7 o'clock on Thursday for the preview. Full kit wanker. I can't do it. I'll never be allowed to go back in Ipswich again. They all think I support Norwich anyway because I'm nice about them. Get Chris Reeve, your nemesis, to do the Norwich. Chris Reeve is not my nemesis, honestly. He's not. That was a work on Talk Norwich City where he wouldn't shake my hand. Socks Friday night. Nah, not happening. But you will win on Friday, Kyle. Swansea are literally the most open team you'll see. Thank you, Ken. Ken always retweets there. Not doing it, Kyle. Not happening. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm going to eat my lasagna. Loads of content this week, so keep in touch. We're doing Norwich, then West Brom, and then Birmingham Villa. Really looking at it. Oh, honestly, you need to meet Jack. He's not smug, honestly. He's a really, really good guy, and he's helped me out with my channel, honestly, off camera. I've got a great relationship with Jack, who's going to do really well if Norwich go up in terms of views. Right, I'm going to shut the hell up. 37 minutes.